Hey guys, how are you doing? It's Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another YouTube video. We're going to jump into a little bit of technical analysis to start with, looking through some of the charts, discussing that potential that alt season may or may not have started. We're then going to go into a bit of thought exploration, and this is going to be around stablecoins. Is XRP a stablecoin? If so, what value would it be stable at? And is there anything else that we can throw into the pipeline? And the weakening of the dollar is kind of being like thrown around quite a lot at the minute, but just not headlined. It's not titled, but that is basically what the chat is on the street, and we're going to get into that as well. So let's jump into some technical analysis to start with. Obviously, guys, unless you've been living under a rock, you can see that crypto is green. It's really nice to see, especially as a long-term holder. We're seeing some green come out of the market. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th continuation green day here for Bitcoin. So are we going to look for a cool off period at some point? We probably will see a red day. It's just how it goes. Nothing goes up in a straight line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a red day there. But the last time we had a big continued push like this was down here when we were in July of 2021. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a half. Well, that's just a bit of a doji, not undecisive, and then the 9th day there. So 8, then a doji, then the 9th push. And on that day, we still did come down and test the 200 and move back up again. And then we lost some strength, and then we pushed again. So don't be surprised for that to happen, guys. What I'm basically looking for is, when that happens, is some confirmation of alt season. That means that on the day when we do start to get a bit of a pullback for Bitcoin, a bit of a cool off, are we going to see some alts popping off? We want to see 10, 20% on some different altcoins around that sort of time. Sorry, you're going to have to bear with me because I've got a bit of a sore throat today for some reason. Doing a lateral flow this morning, but it seems to be clear. So let's look into some different altcoins. Obviously, XRP is up, looking nice. Actually, let's have a quick look at the weekly closes, and then we're going to look at some specific altcoins. So XRP actually reclaimed the 50-day moving average on the weekly, or the 50-week, for the first time in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The first time in 12 weeks we've had a close above the 50-week, so it's a nice feeling. Obviously, we haven't really reclaimed any real highs yet. We're looking to reclaim this level here, but it's nice to have a candle close above the weekly, the 50-week moving average. Same with Ethereum. We had that close, and that's a nice big green candle there to take us out of that zone. Again, we need to close above this area here, which we are looking to challenge today. That's around the $3,400 mark. And on Bitcoin, it looks like my call was pretty good. I did talk about it over on Twitter. I showed you my open leverage trades at the minute, and as to why I thought this bullish cross might take us up to a bit more strength, because it did previously in the 21st of July, and it did in October of 2020 as well. So there was some thought process behind that as well. So let's just have a quick look into altcoins and what I've been seeing. Obviously, we've got to check out Zaliqua and VE Chain. So they seem to be cooling off a bit today. They were popping a bit earlier. They are struggling. Look, this is Zil. It's struggling to break with that 12 cent. Has been quite heavily rejected from those areas, but it is holding a decent support here at the 10 sort of cent mark, which is where it wicked up to, found some resistance, and holding that level of support right now. Looking for some continuation. Obviously, we are overbought in the RSI on the 4-hourly and on the hourly. It's quite a similar pattern to that of ETH Classic. Actually, I'm going to show you ETH Classic in a minute. Just off the top of my head, it looks quite similar anyway, so I'll just show you that right now. Kind of similar look. So it had that initial spike up, then it had a spike, rejection, spike, rejection. Obviously, the spikes are a bit heavier here on ETH Classic. But let's go back down to ZIL again. So we had the spike up, spike, rejection, spike, rejection. So although it's not quite the same, it is kind of a similar sort of structure there. And then we've got obviously VE Chain. It was pushing up yesterday. Looks to be trying to look for some support. Could it be coming down towards the moving averages? Like charts do often like to test those Kind of think of them as like a fueling station for the next push up. Where's the support level going to be for VE chain? But let's go on the daily and have a look at what's going on. Obviously, that's a nice little pop out. We are rejecting the 200 day on the daily there. And for Zaliqua, we pushed right above that. So EOS was moving. Again, these aren't small market cap cryptos, but that has also rejected the 200 moving average. This is what I'm saying, guys. It could be the start of alt season here, but it's way too early to tell, because what we really need to see is a few days of continuation and some recent highs being taken out. So we want to be seeing these highs being taken out before anyone starts to get bullish of any kind of reversal. We need to be seeing something like that. Shiba is another one that's popping today. So Shiba is challenging this recent swing high over here, but we want to be looking to take out this area here, which is at whatever value that is, 0.00000000003. That's where we're looking to take out with Shiba. So let's get on to the main part of this video. Just wanted to touch on a bit of TA. This is the main part of the video now. We're going to talk a bit about XRP news, what's going on, and then a few different things regarding XRP. So, Crypto Eri said, Tranglo, an XRP ODL champion, has a document out there in Interland with this confidentiality statement that I will respect and not share. But I think I can say, without naming names, there are a whole lot of banks that were added in March, more than you'd imagine. So that's obviously exciting. It's got a confidentiality stamp on it. But someone in her comments put Tranglo's partnership website in there. And I thought this was very interesting, because I knew they had big volume. Ripple obviously owned 40% of Tranglo. They're using ODL now. But I didn't realise all these partners were there. So they've got 1,300 banks in over 100 countries, which I've touched on before. But Alipay, massive partner that is, and WeChat Pay. They're two that really jump into my attention. I've heard of this Lysa Money, is it, before? They're the main ones that jump out to me, though, transfer-wise, obviously. But WeChat Pay and Alipay are huge. Their remittance markets are absolutely massive, and I don't want to go off the top of my head, but if you think there's like 1 point something billion people in China, and they're the two biggest, they do like 80% of the payment volume in China between them, so that's massive. So this is where I'm really going to get onto this conversation about destabilizing the dollar. The dollar's getting weaker. It's really being pushed into everyone's face at the minute, but no one's really using that as a headline. So we're just saying that's what's happening, but without actually saying it. And I can back that up. So Credit Suisse basically said that you can't weaponize the dollar more than once. Digital Pound Foundation came out and said, once you weaponize a monetary system, you'll never do it again. So what are they basically suggesting? Okay, well, now you've cut Russia off from SWIFT, which I don't think is a bad thing, by the way. I mean, they've got to do something. Once you cut Russia off from SWIFT once, all the other countries are going to start to lose faith in the dollar. So then we've got Deutsche Bank come out saying stablecoins will compete with traditional payment offerings. We had, obviously, Jerome Powell came out and said there could be 2 world reserve currencies or more than one. So we've got all these sorts of things going into the basket of the dollar is weakening, but without anyone actually really saying it, because it's not something that patriotic American people will say, or people in power, because they don't want to create panic. And that's no dig at Americans. I like the patriotism, but it's just a fact. And then we've got this from Ron Hammond. It's a really good thread, actually. It says, this week in Congress and crypto, a lot is going on in DC. But as it relates to crypto, the hearing on benefits and risks of central bank digital currencies in the House has been delayed. However, this issue has rapidly been involved in terms of perception on the Hill. Here's the latest. It talks about CBDCs in general. Some of the points that I really want to draw on are down here somewhere. They talk about how Russia are trying to evade sanctions with CBDCs. Here, we'll go from here. Recent events have drastically shifted the policy landscape. First, Chair Powell testified multiple times that Congress would need to first pass legislation to give the Fed authority to create a CBDC. Legislation with common goals can take a while. Second is sanctions. The recent invasion of Ukraine has members hyper-focused on Russia, on how Russia will try to evade. Many see a CBDC potentially as a way to evade sanctions in the future, but these opinions are still forming. If it were China, it would be a different conversation. Third, Canada and the truckers. And then it says, well, we're going to go on to, which finally brings us, this isn't that important to what I'm talking about. They're just talking about like having a partisan bill for CBDCs, which brings us on to the executive order from Biden administration. There's a heavy emphasis on further study of potential development of a CBDC. The executive order raises that a CBDC is a national security issue and should protect American interests. It's unclear what the role of Congress through the given executive order. There have already been extensive studies on topics with still no clear path forward in Congress approving CBDC. Congress is still doing due diligence researching the issue, and the question remains if it will lead to action. Given the various political landmines on the topic of CBDCs, this is one reason why we're seeing a push from the banking committees to focus on stablecoins. This is really important, guys. With so many development members on both sides agree stablecoins need proper guardrails as CBDC conversation continues. So next we're going to go on to this little clip from Jeremy Allaire, who is obviously the CEO of Circle, who make USDC. He says, Powell, Yellen and Lagarde, and now many other central bankers agree, stablecoins and central bank e-monies will coexist. That's huge progress this year. The next 2 to 3 years of stablecoin hypergrowth will cement their role at the foundation of internet finance and commerce. Then we're going to listen to what Christine Lagarde has to say, who is the head of the ECB, former IMF. Let's have a look.
Or do you see a digital currency ecosystem that can coexist and be healthy with stablecoins and central bank digital currency?
Well, I don't see it as an either or. I think that they can certainly coexist, and I think that from our perspective, CBDCs and sovereign currencies will not go. They will not go because they are the anchoring factor in the world of currencies.
By the way, I completely agree with that. I know we have a lot of people out here really pushing for decentralization and no central currencies, but I do completely agree with what she's saying. I don't think we're going to lose fiat currency for the time being, at least. I don't even think the world could handle decentralization, really, but that's by the by. Let's see what else she says.
What matters is, whether people have the confidence that a euro is a euro, or that a dollar is a dollar, or that a renminbi is a renminbi. If you have a stable coin, maybe there is a one-to-one conversion from that stable coin into fiat currency, maybe. And I'm saying maybe because we have seen instances when the regulator checked into whether or not there was this one-to-one guarantee, and there was not. And the assets against these stable coins that were out there, the assets against that were not tantamount.
Tether.
The volume of stable coins that was in circulation. So there will be stable coins, there will be attempts, and there will be desire by some to actually leverage their respective networks or their respective platforms or their respective payment systems in order to move into that activity. But I'm convinced that sovereign currencies in the form of CBDCs will necessarily at least coexist.
So she's saying at least coexist. So she's already resigned to the fact now that it's not just going to be one central entity of money like it has been for the last however many hundred years. So she's saying, already she's coming out and saying basically private companies are going to be able to make their own version of money and we're going to accept that as well. I think it's a very interesting conversation, and I think that people are brushing over it quite nonchalantly, but I think it's actually quite a huge thing. If we think back to what she also said is to leverage different networks. Well, I already talked yesterday about how I think Ripple are trying to build the biggest network in the world. So maybe she could be directing something towards Ripple and XRP there as well. Pardon me, but just not in the way, again, that we think of. So she's already come out and saying that basically the central banks are willing to give up some power to private companies, but we don't really know where. Where's this power going to come from? We obviously guess and would have our best guess at like a euro stable coin that's not necessarily issued from the central bank, or like a CBDC, or like a stable coin from like Tether, or a stable coin from USDC, so tied to the dollar. But we've not really explored any options of stable coins with more value than something of a fiat currency, and that's something that I really want to discuss in a second. And we're going to look a little clip here from Digital Perspectives, who talks about something along those lines and collateralizing the XRP ledger, because I think there's something important to go on there.
And the World Bank's written on this subject, and they're not talking about sovereign dollars. They're talking about a stable coin. And in the World Bank that's being referenced by the WEF is now being cited as Ripple, XRP, and XLM. This is what I want you to see right here.
So he's actually saying that the World Bank are recognizing XRP and XLM as stable coins already. But again, the price is something that we haven't discussed.
Everyone chips in and puts up reserves to collateralize the ledger and or the XRP stablecoin, according to the World Bank and the World Economic Forum here. You could use many different reserve assets to give you this price floor or a price set, because a stablecoin can be price set and held to a certain level. And you could do that not with just one asset like a USD reserved to the USD coin or USD tether, but multiple assets. So if the system was ever attacked, because so many banks are participating around the world in these reserves being put up, and many different reserves, albeit gold or oil or silver, stocks and bonds.
So I think we get the point of what he's trying to say here. It's exciting. It's something definitely to explore. He's saying that, yeah, okay, well, it might be a stablecoin, XRP or XLM. They may be stablecoins, but what value are we going to tie to them? If Ripple do succeed with the plan that I talked about yesterday, and we do have XRP as an exchange token for the whole world, all the assets in the world, if we can get there, then what sort of price would you price set XRP at? If you take a commodity, a subsection of every single asset, and backed XRP with that, specifically for this example, what sort of price would we be looking at for a stablecoin of XRP? We talked yesterday about $1,000 to $10,000 XRP. This is another way we get there, guys. Not just a volume flowing through the network, but a price set on that network of the exchange token. I think it's an interesting thought process, I really do. Especially when you go on to see some things like this. So Susan Friedman, who is on the board at Ripple, she's head of public policy, ex-US Treasury, ex-CFTC. Then you've got Rosie Rios, ex-Treasurer of the US. She literally specifically says, Rosie Rios, ex-Treasurer of the US, whose name is on 1.69 trillion US dollars out of the 1.71 in circulation. We've also got Rosie Rios talking about, this is what I wanted to show you quickly first. This is a bit of a moon.
For those of you who don't know, the next gen $100 note is the last denomination of that particular family of notes. We're working on the future generation of currency. So that is my other job. We're working on the future generation of currency. So that is my other job.
And I know that clip's a bit like hypey, but I think it's a great clip. Like, she is saying that she's working on the future of currency again. Someone whose name is literally on all the US dollars at the minute, when we've got loads of things being thrown around about the dollar and how it's basically weakening without actually saying that. And then you've got the ex-treasurer whose name's on all the money coming out and saying she's working on the future of currency. Yes, you could relate that to Ripple and XRP, but you also could relate it to like a digital dollar or a new type of dollar coming out. But it's definitely something to take into a thought process when you've got all these other things that you're seeing as well. At the same time, she's saying XRP's primary purpose is facilitating cross-border payments, while other cryptos find their value in speculation. I think that's important from Rosie Rios. She's basically saying that there's a utility there for XRP, and she's claiming that there's not for others. I'm just citing her words. Then this is the final thing that I want to leave you with today. From Jim Rickards. Let's have a look at Jim Rickards' profile. He's a New York Times best-selling author. He's an economist. He wrote about the Great Depression, etc., etc. But let's have a look at what he said. People are saying it's not my idea of a reliable source. That said, even the IMF needs devs, and I'm sure Ripple has got some good ones. That doesn't mean XRP will be a reserve asset. More likely, it's an ESDR. So basically, he's saying that Ripple is working with 40 central banks. They're on the IMF task force, so people are saying the digital asset XRP that Ripple uses will be coupled with the SDR for global liquidity. What do you think on that? So he's saying it's more likely to be an ESDR, special drawing rights, and that's very similar to what Brad Kynes was showing in that little bubble where it's backed by like loads of different things. So actually, the SDR reevaluation has been delayed until July of this year, and currently, what's in that SDR is a weighting of different currencies. So we've got the Chinese yuan, the euro, Japanese yen, the pound, and the dollar, with different weightings to create one SDR, special drawing rights for the bank. I'm not too clued up with exactly what these are, but I'm pretty sure it's what Brad Kynes was talking about in that other video there that we've just watched, with other commodities coming through. Maybe we could see an update in this, and maybe we could see a new digital version. And could that be XRP and XLM? And if it was, guys, what would you speculate the price to be? We're thinking all the money in the world back in this, or at least a large amount of capital back in XRP as an ESDR currency, or an exchange token for the world, or a stablecoin for the world. So there's 3 ways right now I've shown you that we can get to some really high prices for XRP. I'm not saying it has to be the world reserve currency. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it could be. And if we do get in and around that sort of price tag, guys, it's a massive, massive move from here. So eyes on the next few weeks. And one last thing to leave you with, guys. I have a personal prediction that this week we'll see something from the Hinman emails, and Sarah Netburn is going to be positive towards Ripple and XRP. Obviously, just a personal speculation. I want to know what you guys think about this video in general, and what you think about that prediction at the end there. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps. I've had some massive growth in the channel this last week, and it's really made me buzz in, because I try hard for these videos to try and give you guys the information that I've been accumulating for the last few years. But yeah, if you enjoyed it, guys, please share it with a friend. I appreciate it very much. Peace up, A-Town down, as Usher would say.